scientists set up 64 tests to finally prove crows love shiny objects. They placed shiny metal screws, aluminum foil, and reflective rings across campus feeding sites. Both times, wild magpies contacted the shiny objects exactly twice. They picked up a silver ring and immediately threw it away. Here's the truth. Crows don't steal shiny objects. They're actually afraid of them. The entire thieving magpie myth, based on an 1815 French melodrama, is scientifically false. The 2014 University of Exeter study demolished it completely. But here's what makes this twist fascinating. What crows actually do is so much more intelligent than hoarding shiny trash. They manufacture hooked tools. They recognize your face for 17 years. They show neural markers of conscious experience, and one crow pulled a knife from an active crime scene. Let's start with how the myth died. 2014, University of Exeter. Dr. Toni Shepard and her team designed 64 trials, testing wild magpies across 8 campus sites. The setup: shiny metal screws, foil rings, aluminum foil, placed next to identical objects painted matte blue. If the myth was true, birds should grab the shiny stuff. Result: wild magpies contacted shiny objects twice in 64 tests. Captive birds, 0 contact with anything. The birds didn't just ignore shiny objects, they avoided them. Dr. Shepard's conclusion: instead of being compulsively drawn towards shiny objects, magpies decide to keep a safe distance when these objects are novel and unexpected. It's called neophobia, fear of new things. Kevin McGowan, crow specialist at Cornell Lab of Ornithology, states it even more directly. Wild crows do not like nor collect shiny objects. They do not hide, store, or cache anything but food. Dr. Kaylee Swift at University of Washington, after countless hours observing hundreds of individual crows, never witnessed anything resembling this behavior. The science is unanimous. The myth is dead. So where did this myth even come from? 1815, France. A melodrama called La Pie Voleuse, The Thieving Magpie. The plot: servant girl wrongly executed for theft. The real thief? A magpie that stole silver. 1817. Rossini turned it into an opera, La Gazza Ladra. Overture became famous. The myth spread across Europe. By the time Collins' English Dictionary defined magpie, it included a person who hoards small objects. When a crow touches something shiny, you notice. When it ignores a shiny object, which is almost always, you don't record it. If you're into wild discoveries that flip what everyone believes, you know what to do. Here's what crows actually cache: exclusively food. David Crystal's 2001 study in animal behavior showed American crows cache less preferred walnuts. They eat the good stuff immediately. Store the backup food. A 2014 study by Jacobs found corvids in captivity will cache non-food objects. But it's play behavior, no preference for shininess. New Caledonian crows preferred stick-like objects, similar to their tools. Ravens preferred spherical objects, utility, not sparkle. But their brains? Absolutely insane. 2016. Landmark study in PNAS by Alkowitz and colleagues. They counted neurons in bird brains. Bird brains contain twice the neuron density of equivalent-sized mammalian brains. Ravens possess 2.17 billion neurons in a 14-gram brain, more forebrain neurons than capuchin monkeys, despite having a brain 1/10 the size. Crows have a structure called the nidopallium caudolaterale, NCL. It's their prefrontal cortex equivalent. Receives input from all sensory systems. Projects to motor structures, densely packed with dopamine. Identical function to mammalian prefrontal organization. Working memory capacity in crows? 4 items, same as rhesus monkeys. And they manufacture tools no other animal can make. New Caledonian crows are the only non-human species that manufactures hooked tools in the wild. The process is precise. Select forked plant stems. Trim above and below the fork. Sculpt the hooked end in 3 dimensions. Tools with deeper hooks extract prey 2 to 10 times faster. 2002. Oxford University. Betty the Crow. Researchers gave Betty and her cage mate Abel a bucket with food. 1 hooked wire to retrieve it. Abel stole the only hook. Betty looked at the straight wire, then bent it into a hook using her beak. First observation of a non-human animal creating novel tools from pliable materials. She succeeded in 9 of 10 subsequent trials. Multiple bending techniques. 2016 replication by Christian Rutz at St. Andrews revealed deliberate bending as part of their natural behavior. Betty wasn't inventing. She was applying innate capabilities to new materials. Then came metatool use, 2007. Alex Taylor's team at Auckland. Metatool use, using tools to obtain other tools. They gave crows a short stick and a longer stick out of reach. Food beyond that. 4 of 7 crows succeeded on their first trial. Used the short stick to get the long stick. The famous 007 crow solved an 8-step sequential puzzle for BBC. Pull string to get stick. Use stick to retrieve 3 stones from separate cages. Drop stones into mechanism. Mechanism releases longer stick. Use that stick to access food. 8 steps, planned in advance. But here's where it gets truly unsettling. Crows remember your face for 17 years. 2006. University of Washington. John Marsloff's team wore distinctive rubber masks, caveman faces, and trapped 7 crows on Seattle campus. Before trapping, fewer than 5% of crows reacted to the masks. By year 3, 66% of encountered crows scolded the dangerous mask. Most had never been captured. They learned socially. The knowledge spread 1.2 kilometers from the original trapping site over 5 years. Crows recognized the face regardless of who wore it. Different genders, different ages, different body sizes. September 2023, 17 years after the experiment, Marsloff reported the scolding response had finally faded.
Really, to me, the most surprising thing about crows so far has been their ability to recognize and remember particular people, and even just particular faces.
The original trapped generation had died. Their children remembered for 17 years. A 2012 brain imaging study showed why. Threatening faces activated the nucleus tenea, the crow's amygdala equivalent. Fear circuits lit up. Caring faces activated reward regions. They process human faces like we do, with emotion, with memory. Crow funerals aren't mourning, they're danger classes. Dr. Kaylee Swift's research at University of Washington tested this. She presented taxidermied dead crows to feeding populations. Crows mobbed, vocalized loudly, avoided foraging near the corpse. Dead pigeons? No reaction. The function? Danger learning. When crows see a dead crow, they assume a predator is nearby. Crucially, crows learn to recognize and scold the masked human holding the dead crow after one exposure. This association lasted over 6 weeks. 2020 brain imaging showed the amygdala and hippocampus activated when processing dead crows. Fear-based learning. September 2020, the study that changed everything. Andreas Nieder's lab at University of Tübingen. Published in Science. They recorded individual neurons in crow brains while showing faint visual stimuli. Sometimes crows reported seeing the light. Sometimes they didn't, for identical stimuli. The neurons predicted what the crow would report, not what was physically there. Neural activity correlated with subjective perception. This is the first empirical marker of sensory consciousness in birds. Conscious experience. In a brain with no cerebral cortex, either consciousness evolved before the mammal bird split 320 million years ago, or it evolved independently twice. Crows also solve Aesop's fable tests. The ancient fable, thirsty crow drops stones into pitcher to raise water level. Scientists tested this. Crows learned that sinking objects raise water, floating objects don't. They rival 5 to 7-year-old children on these tests, but they failed YouTube tests that 8-year-olds solve. Now for the verified famous cases. Canuck the crow, Vancouver, May 24, 2016. During a crime scene investigation, Canuck picked up a dropped knife, flew 20 to 30 feet. Vancouver police confirmed it to ABC News. Photos showed Canuck had stolen knives before. Canuck was voted Metro Vancouver's unofficial ambassador in 2018. Last seen August 2019. Japanese crows cracking nuts with cars. Scientifically documented by Yoshiaki Nihei at Tohoku University. First observed in 1975 at a Sendai driving school. Crows place walnuts in front of stopped cars. Wait for traffic signals. Retrieve cracked nuts during pedestrian crossing phases. The behavior spread 5 kilometers over 20 years. Learned exploitation of human infrastructure. But the crow vending machine? Fake. Josh Klein's 2008 TED Talk claimed he trained wild crows to use a vending machine. Insert coins, get peanuts. The New York Times issued a 2009 correction. The machine was tested only on captive crows in a Brooklyn apartment, not wild populations as implied. All replication attempts with wild birds failed. Expert Kaylee Swift compared it to training wild wolves to roll over on command. Gabby Mann's gift-giving crows in Seattle. The family collected over 200 items. including a returned camera lens cap documented on their bird cam. Scientific interpretation remains cautious. Maybe courtship feeding displacement, incidental object dropping, play behavior, not necessarily intentional reciprocity, but the behavior is real. So here's what we learned. The shiny object myth, scientifically demolished. Crows avoid shiny objects through neophobia. What crows actually do? Manufacture hooked tools no other animal makes. Recognize individual human faces for 17 years across generations. Show neural signatures of conscious experience. Use meta tools in 8-step sequences. Learn danger from dead crows. Exploit traffic lights to crack nuts. The myth made them seem like magpies obsessed with sparkly trash. The reality makes them conscious tool users with generational memory and primate-level cognition packed into a 14-gram brain. One trivializes them. The other reveals an intelligence that evolved completely independently from mammals 320 million years ago and rivals our closest primate relatives. The crow examining that shiny wrapper near your car isn't coveting it. It's assessing whether this strange object poses a threat, because crows don't collect treasure, they collect information. And they remember it longer than you'll remember them. Subscribe for more myths we got completely wrong.